The Life of Christ, 22. Christ, public entry into Jerusalem and fulfillment of the Messianic prophecy and subsequent events. Now we come to the last week of Christ's public ministry. It was a week voluminous in the number and weight of the incidents which belonged to it. In the record are found some of the most remarkable instances of the utter discomfiture and humiliation of his foes by the ready replies of Jesus to their most skillfully devised and ingeniously complicated questions. So complete was this defeat, even in the estimation of the populace, that the most ordinary worldly prudence might have turned it into a permanent triumph, and have made Jesus the enthroned leader of the people to the utter overthrow of the power of the Pharisaic and priestly party. Over the centuries, people have convinced themselves of that, but some were convinced, not many. And it wasn't like he was saying to violently overthrow these people or anything like that either. It was the very event which this party had wrought so desperately and unscrupulously to prevent, a position which Jesus, at the moment when it was within his easy reach, resolutely but calmly declined to accept, since he had come forth not for the purpose of worldly dominion and triumph, but to die a cruel and ignominious death. When a person when a person has the opportunity to be a martyr, it's not really quite the goal that they want to be infamous and to die cruelly. They want to set forth an example, a witness, He had power to lay down his life, and this power, instead of the other, he accepted and exercised. This was the period, too, of several of those most powerful and marvelous discourses of Christ, chiefly to his disciples, recorded in the last part of Matthew's and John's Gospels. The week began with the Sunday before the Passover, commemorated since by the Christian Church as Palm Sunday. Jesus had been journeying from the Jordan with his disciples and had just arrived in the vicinity of Jerusalem when he made preparation for this prophetically predicted public entry as the Messiah, the anointed Prince of Israel, of David's line, into the capital city of his nation. It was the only public official demonstration that he made. And what a strange demonstration it was. It was one of mingled grandeur and simplicity, of exulting triumph and genuine humility. There was no military display, no magnificent civic procession, no chariots or horsemen, no even moderate, elaborate previous preparation. Simply himself in his ordinary garb, surrounded by his few humble companions, who instead of more gaudy trappings, had spread their outer garments upon the young donkey on which the master rode. But the progress and entry were triumphant. Nevertheless, the multitude, moved as by one mighty impulse, hailed him with hosannas, as David's royal heir, divinely designated and coming to assume his throne. Nor was Jesus for a moment deceived by the universal popular acclamation. He knew that, ere the week would end, and all this enthusiasm would cease, that a disastrous revulsion would come, and that the same lips that now shouted Hosanna would cry, "Away with him! Crucify him!" Nevertheless, It became him, thus, to present himself to his nation, and to enter in this kingly way into the sacred city. Matthew 21, 22, 15 through 46, Mark 11, 12, Luke 19, 29 through 46 and 20, John 12, 12 through 19. The preparation for the official entry, Matthew 20, 1 through 9, Mark 11, 1 through 10, Luke 19, 29 through 38, John 12 through 18. The two disciples sent to secure the young donkey. They find it according to the prediction, and having explained to the owner what was wanted, bring it to Jesus. He rides upon the beast with no other trappings but the disciples' raiment. The prophetic declaration, where is it found? Greeting of the people and their joyful acclamations, acknowledging him as the Messiah. Well, of the time, but very few people, as we see evidenced if we look at it in context. What event had enhanced this enthusiasm? Was it lasting? Depression of the Pharisees. John 12:19. They, with unconcealed disgust, ask him to rebuke his friends. His remarkable reply, Luke 19, 39, 40. The pathetic lamentation over Jerusalem, its grand rejected opportunity about to cease forever. The appalling consequences, Luke 19, 41 through 44. Excitement in the city at Christ's entrance. Inquiry and answer, Matthew 21, 10 and 11. Jesus in the temple. Expulsion again of the traffickers. The people doing interest. Usury might be the better term. It's like, well, we want this type of thing, so we're going to charge you more for just money trading. How does his denunciation of their conduct differ from that uttered on the former occasion, 12 and 13, Mark 11, 15 through 17, Luke 19, 45 and 46, see also John 2, 16. He exercises his healing power upon those who come to him in the temple. Laudation and joy of the people and even of the children. Displeasure of the Pharisees who surely call his attention to this. The striking reply, Matthew 11, 14 through 16. Lodging at Bethany on Sunday night, he returns in the morning to Jerusalem. The barren fig tree cursed, the moral and spiritual lesson implied, verses 17 through 19, teaches in the temple, eagerness of the people to hear him, and the growing malice of the Pharisees, seeking for pretexts to destroy him, Luke 19, 47 and 48, also 21, 37, 38. Tuesday morning, returning to Bethany, the disciples marvel at what had befallen the fig tree. Jesus makes it the occasion of teaching the power of real faith, Matthew 21, 20, 22, Mark 11, 20 through 24. The Pharisees demanding of him the authority for his assumptions. Jesus in turn demands of them their opinions concerning John's mission, their painful dilemma, and humiliating and cowardly answer. Matthew 21, 23 through 27, Mark 11, 27 through 33, Luke 20, 1 through 8. And see, from that we learn that we can form an opinion without the priestly approval. So why is this bit about people, well, I must accept the conservative Christian or conservative this or that or other opinion? It's like, well, form your own opinion. You are your own authority. Yeah. You turn to the revelation and inspiration that God laid upon his avatars, but Well, I mean, or at least what you believe such content to be. Parable of the two sons, obedience rather than profession, applied to the self-righteous Pharisees and penitent publicans and harlots, also of universal application, Matthew 21, 28 through 32, parable of the murderous tenant husbandman, the atrocious guilt and final rejection of the Jewish church, Matthew 21, 33 through 41, Mark 12, 1 through 9, Luke 20, 9 through 16, the rejected stone, anger of the Pharisees at the application of these parables, their plotting still baffled, Matthew 21, 42 through 46, Mark 12, 10 through 12. The Pharisees unite with the Herodian party in an attempt by hypocritical words to entrap him into some dangerous statement, the question of the lawfulness of the Roman tax, their easy and palpable discomfiture, Matthew 22, verses 15 and 22, Mark 12, verses 13 through 17, Luke 20, verses 20 through 26. The Sadducees attempt to puzzle him with a question pertaining to the future state. He rebukes their ignorance of spiritual things and asserts and briefly cites authority for the doctrine of the resurrection. Matthew 22, 22 through 32. See also Mark and Luke. Verdict both people and scribes, 33. Luke 20, 39. Now, all of that's past the number 19, but the inserts into the later versions of these canonical gospels, well, I mean, there's like 80 others, but so we're, some of them must have been inserted for doctrinal reasons, right? Luke 20. A scribe and lawyer sent with the device of drawing him out to make invidious distinctions between the precepts of the Decalogue, discomfiture of the questioner, Mark 12, 28 through 34, Matthew 22, 34 through 40. Jesus, in turn, confounds the Pharisees by questioning them as in the descent of the Messiah from David, who yet calls him Lord. David was called the firstborn of God, remember. The effect on the purpose, Matthew 22, 41 through 46, Mark 12, 34 through 37, Luke 20, 41 through 44.